Neil Simon's beloved 1977 romantic comedy. The Goodbye Girl brought joy to millions with its witty dialogue and heartwarming story of unlikely roommates finding love. Yet behind the film's enduring charm lies a somber reality. 4 talented actors from this cherished classic have since left us far too soon. From supporting players who brought depth to minor roles to scene-stealing performers who made lasting impressions, these gifted artists contributed to the magic that made The Goodbye Girl unforgettable, even as their own final curtain calls came decades later. Paul Benedict. In Neil Simon's The Goodbye Girl, Paul Benedict played Mark, the pretentious theater director who torments Richard Dreyfuss's character by forcing him to perform Richard III as a flamboyant, over-the-top character. While Benedict's screen time was limited, his performance was memorable because he perfectly captured the type of difficult, ego-driven director that struggling actors often encounter in New York's theater world. Benedict was born in Silver City, New Mexico, in 1938. Though he grew up in the Boston area after his family moved there when he was young. He graduated from Boston College High School and later earned his degree from Suffolk University in 1960. After college, he served in the United States Marine Corps before pursuing his passion for acting and theater. His career began humbly at the Charles Playhouse in Boston, where he started as a janitor earning just $15 per week. Within a year, he had worked his way up to building sets and running the box office before finally getting his chance on stage. Benedict became a regular performer with the Theatre Company of Boston from 1963 to 1968, working alongside future stars like Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman, and Al Pacino before moving to New York to expand his career. Benedict became most famous for playing Harry Bentley, the quirky English neighbor on the CBS sitcom The Jeffersons, a role he portrayed from 1975 to 1985. His character was known for his polite, well-mannered personality and his habit of telling long, boring stories about his childhood in England. Children of the 1970s and 80s also knew him as the number painter on Sesame Street, where he appeared in segments painting numbers on various objects and surfaces. His film career included memorable roles in This Is Spinal Tap, A Mighty Wind, and Waiting for Guffman, where he worked with Christopher Guest's comedy troupe. Benedict also appeared on Broadway multiple times, including a notable performance alongside Al Pacino in Eugene O'Neill's Hugh in 1996. On December 1, 2008, Benedict was found dead at his apartment in Vineyard Haven on Martha's Vineyard, where he had planned to spend the winter. He was 70 years old, and his death appeared to be from natural causes. Benedict had been a long-time resident of the island and was actively involved with the Vineyard Playhouse, where he served on the honorary board. Paul Benedict brought genuine warmth and humor to every role he played, whether he was the annoying but lovable neighbor on The Jeffersons or the demanding director in The Goodbye Girl. His ability to make even the most difficult characters somehow endearing showed his true talent as an actor. Teresa Merritt. In The Goodbye Girl, Teresa Merritt played Mrs. Crosby, the warm and understanding neighbor who provided comfort and wisdom to Marsha Mason's character Paula during her most difficult moments. Though her role was relatively small, Merritt brought a natural maternal presence to the film that helped ground the story's emotional core. Her performance represented the kind of supportive community member that every struggling single mother needs, and she delivered her lines with the genuine warmth that made her such a beloved figure in entertainment. Teresa Merritt was born on September 24, 1922, in Emporia, Virginia, and grew up during the Great Depression in a working-class family. She discovered her love for performing at an early age and pursued formal training at the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City. At just 21 years old, she was selected by Broadway producer Billy Rose to play Frechetta in his 1943 production of Carmen Jones, marking her professional debut on The Great White Way. During the 1950s, Merritt worked as a backup singer for several major recording artists, including Harry Belafonte and Jackie Wilson, and she was also a member of the Helen Way Singers. Her session work included contributing vocals to Buddy Holly's 1958 recording of Early in the Morning, though few people knew about her involvement in this classic rock and roll song until years later. Merritt's breakthrough in television came with the sitcom That's My Mama, which aired from 1974 to 1975, where she played Mama Eloise, the strong-willed mother of the main character. The show, though short-lived, showcased her comedic timing and her ability to portray the kind of no-nonsense African-American matriarch that audiences could relate to and respect. Her most critically acclaimed stage performance came in August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom in 1985, where she played the title character, the legendary blues singer known as the Mother of the Blues. This powerful performance earned her a Tony Award nomination for Best Actress in a Featured Role, and critics praised her ability to capture both the strength and vulnerability of the pioneering musician. In film, Merritt appeared in several notable movies including The Wiz in 1978, where she played Aunt Em, and Billy Madison in 1995, where she had a memorable supporting role as Juanita. She also appeared in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, alongside Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton, demonstrating her versatility across different genres. On June 12, 1998, Teresa Merritt died of skin cancer at Calvary Hospital in the Bronx, New York. She was 75 years old and was survived by her husband Benjamin Hines and their 4 children. Her death marked the end of a career that spanned more than 5 decades in theater, television, and film. Teresa Merritt's legacy lies in her ability to bring dignity and authenticity to every role she played, whether she was supporting struggling actors in The Goodbye Girl or commanding the stage as Ma Rainey on Broadway. Powers Boothe. In The Goodbye Girl, Powers Boothe appeared as one of the actors in the Richard III cast, the same production where Richard Dreyfuss's character Elliot is forced to play the title role in an unconventional, flamboyant style. While Boothe's screen time was brief, his presence added authenticity to the theater scenes and represented the kind of serious, dedicated actor that Elliot aspired to become. Even in this small role, Boothe brought the commanding screen presence that would later make him one of Hollywood's most recognizable character actors, particularly when playing intimidating or morally complex characters. Powers Allen Boothe was born on June 1, 1948, in Snyder, Texas, a small town with a population of about 11,000 people in the heart of West Texas. He grew up on a cotton farm as the youngest of 3 sons born to a sharecropper farmer, and his early life was marked by the hard work and modest circumstances typical of rural Texas during the 1950s. Boothe became the first person in his family to attend college when he earned a scholarship to Texas State University, where he initially planned to pursue a career in either oil or farming, the 2 main industries available to young men in his area. It wasn't until he received a fellowship to enroll in Southern Methodist University's graduate program in Dallas that Boothe discovered acting as a potential career path. Before that opportunity, he later admitted in interviews that going to Los Angeles or New York seemed as impossible as traveling to the moon for someone from his background. After completing his studies, he joined the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, where he honed his craft in classical theater before eventually making his way to Broadway and then to Hollywood. Boothe's breakthrough role came in 1980 with the CBS television movie Guyana Tragedy, the story of Jim Jones, where he portrayed the infamous cult leader who led more than 900 followers to their deaths in a mass murder-suicide in Guyana. His chilling performance as Jones earned him an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series or Movie, and he made headlines when he crossed picket lines during a Screen Actors Guild strike to accept the award in person, saying it might be either the bravest or dumbest moment of his career. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Booth built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most reliable character actors, particularly excelling at playing villains and morally ambiguous characters. His most famous film role was probably Curly Bill Brocious in the 1993 Western Tombstone, where he played the charismatic but ruthless leader of a gang of outlaws terrorizing the Arizona Territory. His performance opposite Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer helped make the film a classic of the modern Western genre. Booth also appeared in several other notable films, including Red Dawn in 1984, where he played a downed Air Force pilot who joins a group of teenage resistance fighters during a fictional Soviet invasion of the United States. He portrayed Alexander Haig in Oliver Stone's Nixon in 1995, and played the corrupt Senator Rourke in both Sin City movies, bringing his trademark intensity to the role of a powerful politician with dark secrets. On television, Booth was perhaps best known for his role as Cy Tolliver, the ruthless saloon owner on HBO's critically acclaimed Western series Deadwood, which ran from 2004 to 2006. His character was a perfect fit for Booth's ability to portray intelligent, dangerous men who could be both charming and terrifying. He also played Vice President Noah Daniels on the hit series 24 and appeared in the miniseries Hatfields and McCoys. On May 14, 2017, Powers Booth died in his sleep at his Los Angeles home from what was initially reported as natural causes. He was 68 years old. It was later revealed that he had suffered a heart attack brought on by pancreatic cancer, which he had been battling privately for approximately 6 months before his death. He was survived by his wife Pamela, whom he had married in 1969, and their 2 children. Powers Booth's career demonstrated that character actors could have just as much impact as leading men, and his ability to bring depth and menace to supporting roles made him an invaluable part of countless productions throughout his nearly 40-year career. Nicol Williamson. In The Goodbye Girl, Nicol Williamson appeared in an uncredited role as Oliver Fry, and while his screen time was minimal, his presence added a touch of theatrical gravitas to Neil Simon's comedy. Even in this brief appearance, Williamson brought the intensity and unpredictable energy that had made him one of the most celebrated and controversial actors of his generation. His inclusion in the film, even in such a small part, reflected his status as a respected figure in the acting community, particularly among those who understood the craft of theater and the challenges facing serious actors in New York's competitive entertainment world. Thomas Nicol Williamson was born on September 14, 1936, in Hamilton, Scotland, though he would later claim 1938 as his birth year in official records. When he was just 18 months old, his family moved to Birmingham, England, where his father Hugh worked in an aluminum manufacturing plant and his mother Mary was a homemaker. During World War II, young Nicol was sent back to Scotland to live with his grandparents because Birmingham was considered too dangerous due to frequent bombing raids, but he returned to England when the war ended and attended Central Grammar School for Boys in Birmingham. Williamson's path to acting began somewhat by accident when he was studying at the Royal Shakespeare Company, where his talent was quickly recognized by directors and fellow actors. He made his professional debut in 1961 in a London production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, directed by Tony Richardson, and his raw talent and magnetic stage presence immediately set him apart from other young actors of his generation. His breakthrough came in 1964 when playwright John Osborne cast him in the lead role of Inadmissible Evidence at London's Royal Court Theatre. Williamson's performance as Bill Maitland, a self-destructive lawyer consumed by paranoia and self-loathing, was so powerful that it established him as one of the most important actors of his era. The role was physically and emotionally demanding, requiring Williamson to carry nearly the entire play on his shoulders, and his success led Osborne to famously describe him as the greatest actor since Marlon Brando. Williamson's most famous stage role was probably Hamlet, which he performed in a production directed by Tony Richardson that caused a sensation both in London and on Broadway. His interpretation of the Danish prince was unconventional and intense, and the production was later adapted into a film. The performance was so well regarded that Prime Minister Harold Wilson recommended it to United States President Richard Nixon, leading to Williamson being invited to perform excerpts at the White House. In film, Williamson became best known to American audiences for two very different but equally memorable roles. In 1976, he played Sherlock Holmes in The 7% Solution, where he portrayed the famous detective as a cocaine-addicted genius seeking treatment from Sigmund Freud, played by Alan Arkin. 5 years later, he delivered what many consider his most iconic film performance as Merlin the Wizard in John Boorman's Excalibur, where his wild-haired, mystical portrayal of the legendary magician became the definitive screen version of the character for many viewers. Williamson was known throughout his career for his unpredictable behavior both on and off stage, which sometimes overshadowed his considerable talent. He had a reputation for breaking character during performances, arguing with directors, and even walking off stage when he was dissatisfied with a production. During one Broadway run, he famously hit a fellow actor with a sword during a staged fight scene and then asked the audience if he should sing when the other actor stormed off stage. Despite his difficult reputation, Williamson continued working in theater, film, and television throughout his career. Though his later years were marked by fewer high-profile roles, he spent the final 2 decades of his life living in Amsterdam, Netherlands, where he focused more on his music and writing than on acting. On December 16, 2011, Nicol Williamson died at his home in Amsterdam from esophageal cancer. He was 75 years old. His death was not announced until nearly 6 weeks later, reportedly at his own request to die anonymously and away from public attention. He was survived by his wife Jill Townsend and their son Luke. Nicol Williamson's legacy rests on his ability to bring raw emotional power to every role he played, whether he was the tormented lawyer in Inadmissible Evidence or the mystical wizard in Excalibur, proving that true talent could shine through even the most challenging circumstances.